Our last session before the luncheon will be a workshop by Sonya Cowper. She's going to be showing us some of the internet map services and applications, some of the new ways that we've been viewing and accessing our data. So she's going to come up and take us through a few things. But before she does, Jeff Poole's going to do a little preamble before she begins. So Jeff and then Sonya.
Well, hello, everyone. Lots of familiar faces out there. I'm going to do a little preamble before Sonya gives her talk. And how do I move to the next slide? Next. And what I thought I'd do is provide a brief introduction of who we are, some background about the past work we've done, and then talk a little bit about the old generation of internet maps, the current generation of internet maps, and then how our view to looking forward at the next generation of internet maps. And we're going to do that through a demo that Sonya is going to provide us. We'll hopefully have some discussion, and I'll have a little wrap-up at the end about what's next. So who are we in the GIS group at Minerals, or Geoscience branch? There's Brian Fisher, our manager, myself, Jeff Poole. Jeff McKinnon is a geologist and GIS specialist. And Angie Barris, who does a lot of the cartography for our group. Sonya, of course, which Sonya Cowper you're going to see today. And Susan Saunders. What do we do? Well, we build the corporate GIS database for the branch. We provide staff support if they need any GIS support for the projects that they work on. We create cartographic products, all the maps we produce, for example. We provide public access to our GIS databases, and then we also provide ongoing GIS support. Here's an example of some of the digital data sets that we look after: the Middle Currents database, the Drill Hole database, the bedrock and surficial geology maps, geochemistry, geophysics, but we're also getting into hydrology, as you guys are aware, coastal erosion, geohazards, and geoheritage. So quite a spectrum of geoscience-related data sets and databases that we look after and distribute. We've been doing this kind of a two-pronged effort. The first is basically digital data distribution, and we've been doing this since March of 1999, so this spring it'll be 15 years. We currently have about 200 digital products available for the public. And we distribute this data in common GIS formats. Right now, it's file-based geodatabase, KML, KMZ. You're probably familiar with that with Google Earth, and in shapefiles. The big assumption here with our downloadable data is that you have GIS software to use and view the data, and not everyone does. As a show of hands, how many people have GIS data or software on their PCs? 1, 2, 3, about 25%, I guess. And how many people have downloaded our data off the internet? Okay. Well, as I said, a major stumbling block for the digital data downloads is having the software to use it. So we moved even pretty quickly into internet map servers and internet applications as far back as early as 2001. And we've gone through a number of generations of servers to do that. In 2013, one of our servers, our workhorse, basically, generated 644,000 geoscience maps for the public, and a not insignificant number. The big assumption here, though, is that, well, there's no big assumption required. All you need for the prospector or the Joe public that's out there using these things is a computer, a browser, and a connection to the internet. So they don't require any software behind the scenes. So I'll talk a little bit about what we had in the way of old generation of internet maps. We have the Geoscience maps, databases, and images. It's more or less one of our major workhorses, and the groundwater maps and databases, and the Mineral Resources Land Use Atlas. How many people have used one or more of these internet applications? A few hands went up. Okay. The pros of these older applications is they're fast, reliable, and they're fairly consistent. They have a consistent look and feel. We've used basically one template, and we just repeated it over a number of different times. So if you learned one, you learned how to use them all. However, there's a number of cons. They're basically probably 4 generations out in the level of server technology on the ArcIMS services that we have running now. So they're clunky for navigation. Things like the roller wheel don't work very well to do zoom in and zoom out. The maps are pretty basic looking. They're nowhere near the quality online as they would see in the published map, for example. There's fixed frames. You can't change the size of frames to minimize them in any way. There's no jumping to fixed scales, no adding layers or saving a setup. Very poor printing capabilities. Coordinates are hard to see and sometimes to use on the map even. And then behind the scenes, they are difficult to maintain. So for us guys behind the scenes, it's difficult to do work with them. The current generation of internet maps that we've got, and they're the same vintage as the Nova Rock servers right now, which is about 1 generation out, probably or 2. Examples that we have here are the Southwest Nova Bedrock Geology map, the potential for radon and indoor air application, and the bedrock acid rock drainage potential application. The pros for these current generation is they have a much more modern look and feel, the type of functionality that you would expect with Google Earth, for example, we've got right now. They're focused, they're easy to use, there's no fixed frames. You can open the map. If you want the map to dominate the screen, it will dominate the screen. If you want to look at the legend and expand it to see things a little bit better, you can do that as well. And the maps, the big thing, the maps look more like the published map. So the nice outcrop locations, the structural symbols, with the oriented properly, with the dips, they're pretty much dead on to what the published map is. However, the cons are we need some more layers, we need some more tools, and the printing capabilities are not quite there yet. Which brings us to the next generation of internet maps. We've been working with Service Nova Scotia over the past few years to try to bump up our architecture to provide us with the most current software and capabilities to service our maps and applications. So we're getting there. We're almost there. So now we're in the dilemma where we want to move forward and to create more applications. We've got a piece of software called GeoCortex, which will hopefully be able to help us make applications a lot faster, a lot more streamlined, and get rid of some of the issues that we've had in the past, some of the problems we've had in the past with our applications. And Sonya's going to be giving a demo on our Geoscience Atlas demo, and if we have the time, we went through this there Friday and there wasn't a lot of time left over, our Valley Stone Rock Resources demo as well. I will just say there is a questionnaire at everyone's table. I don't have a copy of it here. It should be in the center of each table. We would like your input. We're going to show you some stuff here today. We know it doesn't fill all the needs that are probably out there right now. If you want to fill out some of it, great. If you want to fill out all of it, that's great. If you just leave it at the table, we'll pick it up afterwards. If you'd like to keep it and we can show it, come out down to our booth down in the exhibition area. If you have any questions, you can obviously pass it off there. We want to know what layers you want to see, what applications and tools and capabilities you want to be able to do on the internet with our internet map services, and how we should move forward with them. Well, that's enough of my talking. I'm going to pass things over to Sonya now. And Todd, I guess that's the cue. She's going to go with a live demo.
All right, guys. As Jeff mentioned, my name is Sonya Cowper, and I am the programmer behind the application. I'm just going to go through a quick demo. So this is what our applications are going to start looking like. So you see at the top, we have a navigational toolbar. So ArcIMS, if you were familiar with those ones, the toolbar was always on the left-hand side. Now we've moved things to the top. But this stayed the same. You got your zoom in, zoom out, pan, initial view, full extent, and back. So I click on it, and I can zoom into anywhere I want. Now it's going to take a little bit of time to do this. This won't be what happens when it comes live, but we're tunneling into my machine, so this is just a very prototype demo. This is why we want your input. All right, I'm going to zoom into a nice area here. We'll go to the next tool. So this is the identify tool, and this is Nova Rock. So you guys are going to notice that I put Nova Rock on top of our information, and it's live. All right. Let's zoom in one more here. And of course I picked the wrong one. No occurrence. And of course I picked the wrong area. So I'm going to go back. I'm looking for something. Gotta love live demos. All right. Hopefully, there we go. So this is a lot more interesting area than the area I was at. One thing I want to show you is the identify tool. I don't know if you guys use the identify tool in ArcIMS at all, but this is where you get a lot of your information about the different data. So I'm going to quickly just click on the map, and I'm going to see a bunch of different information. It's all going to come back. The one thing I really like about this one that's different than ArcIMS is I don't have to worry about what layer's active. Some of you, that means nothing, goes right over your head. For others who actually used ArcIMS, this is a bonus. I can click anywhere now on the map, I get information. So right now, I got information about the mineral currents. This also is going to link up to our report. Easy. Nice and simple. It also highlights the areas, so I can find different information. This allows me not to have to turn layers on and off, and I don't really have to worry about what layer it is. It's going to highlight it for me. Next thing we can do that I know wasn't a capability in our other applications is I can set a scale. I'm going to go to 1 to 10,000. It's going to zoom my map in. It'll catch up. That's Nova Rock getting there. And now I'm going to have the ability to print that map. So right here we have a printing capability of 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17. I'd like to know what other printing capabilities you want. So you'll see on there what tools, kind of the second one down in your questionnaire. If you need more printing capabilities, you need to go to a much larger size, please write that down. So you'll see here I now have a map scale, 1 to 10,000. I can change this if I want to. I can put 1 to 5, 1 to 25, even though my map scale is not set that way. I'm just going to keep it at 1 to 10. I'm going to hit preview. This allows me to know exactly what I'm going to be printing on my map. So you're going to see it highlights it. So it kind of zooms out a bit, shows the area. That's the area I like. I'm going to hit print. Now, the biggest thing about this is it's a pop-up blocker. So if you have pop-up blockers on, you're going to have problems printing this up. It's easy fix. You just allow it. It's pretty simple. So you're going to notice it's a PDF. I'm going to just maximize my window here so you can see. We'll zoom out. Oops, wrong way. You're going to see the map. So now we have a more professional looking map. You got your overview map. I'm still working on the legend. You get your date. There's your scale. There's some good information. Explains, this came from us. You can't use it for certain things. Scale bar, and then your projection. This is also another thing we'd love to know. If you guys are printing things off of the old applications, and you're looking for some changes, please let us know about that too. These things are customizable. Next, we'll get into export. This allows me to save the image of my map screen. I can save it in different views. I can email this to people once I save it. I can embed it into a Word document, different options like that. Next thing that I think is really interesting is our map layers. Like I mentioned before, we have Nova Rock on this application. This is just a demo application, so there's mineral occurrences, drill holes, abandoned mines, there's your bedrock, and here's some of your base layer information. I'm just going to quickly turn on an image. And you're going to notice you can't see it on the screen. Right? I got information over top of it, it's hard to see. Normally in ArcIMS, you'd have to go and you'd have to turn everything off. This is really cool. You don't have to do that anymore. On the side, you'll notice that there's a little transparency. I can go in between them and start to see the application that comes underneath. So I don't have to turn things on and off. Right now the base information is there. I can minimize that as well. And then you'll start to see, here comes the imagery. So I can transparent in between them, kind of get it the way I want. That way it allows me to see the imagery and it allows me to see the bedrock information. Now we know on this layer list here that there's stuff missing. I know that. Can you tell me what I am? I would really love to know what I'm missing. What are the layers that you currently use? What do you want to see on this? This application right now is in a completely prototype state. That's why we want the questionnaire. Hint, hint. That would be great. Next thing we can do, this is really neat. You can add a shapefile. Now some people are like, what's a shapefile? You know, if you don't care, that's okay. For others, this is pretty awesome. Shapefiles are from Esri. They're what we work in a lot. So if you downloaded the data from our data pages, you can download it in a shapefile. You can bring that right back into our application. Maybe we missed a layer. So this is just something I played around with today. Simple, it came in. Now the biggest thing is projections. For those of us who know about that, you know what that means. We're in, our projection is UTM. If those of you don't understand projections, don't worry about it. You can also bring it in with a lat long. So this is a CSV. So this is like an Excel spreadsheet. I went out in the field, I got some areas, I got some XYs, I know they're lat long. I want to bring it in to see what areas I was looking at. I click open, saying which one's my X, my lat, my long. I hit done. So I got 40 out of 70. So 30 of those weren't perfect. That happens. So there's the rest of my locations I did. It even brings up. So there's the geoheritage that John was talking about. I used his data. And that. And you can easily zoom into the different areas. So if you have a bunch of different sites, you can easily click on them, get to the areas that are exciting. So there's obviously some of the information, geoheritage, that John's been working on. Hi, Head. Now, one little thing here, we have something, we can link over to Google Maps. Now, this application doesn't do it very well because Google Maps is in a different map projection. It's called Web Mercator. We're using UTM. But I'm going to show you a different application where I am using Web Mercator. All right, let's go to the next one. The next different tool. So these are different tabs on our toolbar. So one really neat information that I really like is in our drawing. This allows me to add any sort of information on my map. Let's say I want somebody to look here. There's some specific information I want them to talk about. I'm just going to do a simple little look here. I can add a little point. That little information. Add a point. And then I can actually save this map. So one really information, if I'm always constantly looking at a same area over and over and over and over again, I can save that actual area with the different layers on it. I can put information on this. I can also send this to somebody else that they can open up in our applications. So it doesn't matter this. I can just say demo. It's created by me. Description. Demo. Geology matters. And it gives you a little thumbnail. So this is shared with everyone. So anybody who comes on this machine can now see it. There's a little URL that I can copy and paste. I can give that URL to anybody to see, mail it. They're going to be able to come in. This also allows me, if I want to open a project. So there's a couple little ones that I've already done. This is all sitting on my machine. Gives you different dates I did them, different times. So I'm going to flip over to a different application that we've done. This is our Southwest Nova. You notice I didn't have to shut down my machine. I never opened up a new web. ArcIMS doesn't overlay each other very nicely. Another thing I hate about ArcIMS is the retrieving map. Anybody else find that annoying? It's not my favorite thing. One really neat thing I'll show you real quick is I can maximize my window. I don't have to leave all these things open. If I'm only looking at my map, I can do that. You'll notice it's never saying retrieving map. I did it pretty easily. It didn't zoom me out to the full extent of Nova Scotia anymore. So I'm in a pretty neat area here. We also have this really neat I want to. These are quick ways to find different tools. So this allows you to keep your screen maximized to your map, and then allows me to customize this in order to things that you really, really do on a regular basis. So this way your toolbar can be closed down at all times. This allows different things. So this is customizable. So this is another thing. If there are tools that you're using all the time, I'd love to know about that. I'd love to be able to customize this so you can maximize your window. So you'll see that's part of the second thing, what tools or specific capabilities you would like to see. This here. So one really neat thing too, once again, I can share my current map. And it's going to click open a little URL that I can send to anybody. Now the one really nice thing about Southwest Nova is you'll notice the dips, kind of the cartographic information. We now have the ability to do something as nice as the published map document. So our cartographicness has moved up quite a bit. So you'll notice it looks exactly, I spent a lot of time trying to make it look exactly like our published application, our published data. So you're going to see that in the old ones, it's kind of we were very limited. Now we're not. You get the actual X's, you get the nice little dips the way they all do. And so that's one really nice thing. You're going to see the quality of the map. So that means when you print it off, you're getting a high quality map product. The other really neat thing that I like about this application that's become is the searching capabilities. So right now, if I wanted to search for a mineral occurrence, I can just type in A04. I'm going to just hit enter, and out on the side here, it's going to list all the mineral occurrences that are on there. And then I hit my screen, it went somewhere. There you go. So I can zoom to the feature. It's going to take me to that new area, close that map out. There it is. This is really neat. You don't have to worry. It's a big global search, so it's going to search anything in my mineral occurrence for A04. I didn't have to know the actual mineral occurrence number. I kept it pretty broad. The next way we can do too is search for in a different manner. So I'm going to search for Kempville. I'm going to zoom to the area. And there I go. I automatically went to East Kempville. So the searching capabilities have become a lot quicker. They're a lot simpler. If you didn't know, sometimes I know you guys are probably pretty smart and know exactly the area you want to go in, but maybe you wanted to know something else about the mineral occurrences or you wanted to see something. This allows you to easily search for that. It's quick too. The other really nice thing is our bookmarks. This allows you to quickly go to different, I did it by map sheets because this is Southwest Nova, and this allows you to check out the different map sheets, but you can add your own. So if you're in, once again, if you're in an area all the time, you want to see it, you can create yourself a bookmark. Allows you to zoom in and out around the map, and then you can go right back to where you want to go. Easy, it keeps it on there. We can also do this by gold district. Right now I don't have gold district information on here, but we do. So this is another customizable application tool. And I guess I'm interested to see what searches you guys would like to zoom to. What areas of interest are particularly, well, basically area of interest for you that we can create a map sheet for to make this application quick for you. The other really neat tool that I really enjoy is our coordinate systems. Right now I can click on the map and I can get any coordinate system on there. So you'll notice this is definitely not that long, okay? This is, once again, this is Web Mercator. And this allows you to go into Google Maps, okay? So anything that you're doing, if you do Google Earth, this is the coordinate system you want to see. If you're going on your GPS, you're interested in that long. So I just reprojected a coordinate system on the fly, all by clicking a button. I can now take that, put it in my GPS, off I go. How about instead, I have a GPS coordinate. I'm going to type it in. Oh, there's my lab long. I'm going to add. So it's going to take me to that specific area of interest. No oohs or ahs, come on. Come on. Isn't that? So I think this is pretty neat, right? It's a pretty neat little tool. It allows you to, what we're trying to do is allow you to bring your data in. We're allowing you to put your data on top of our stuff now, right? Before we were dictating to you. IMS didn't have that capability. Now what we're trying to do is bring you in to use our stuff. So you don't have to have our data downloaded everywhere. You don't have to have it. You can use our application. So I'm hoping that I got some interest in where we're going, what we're doing. And a lot of this stuff is what a new tool we're trying to work on and is basically in Novarock. If you're looking at one of our applications with the Novarock information on it, we're hoping to be able to bring you off of our application and shunt you right over to Novarock. And then you can lay a claim. So I think that's pretty neat. A couple other things that we're working on. Like John mentioned, the geoheritage map. This is a really simplified demo. It sits on my machine. It's not public yet. It's basically, it is what it is. We only have so many sites up, but John and I have a good bet that we'll have this done in hopefully in a month. So stay tuned for that. So you'll notice this is the geoheritage size, right? A picture says 1,000 words. There's Victoria Park. There's some other ones. Now the one that we do have public, which I'm pretty excited about, is Garth's Earth and Stone. And I'm going to go show you. This is my machine right now, but this is what it looks like in the internet. So I'm not on my machine. This is a live application. So Garth has very nicely picked his top 38 aggregate information in the Annapolis Valley. He's got a lot of really great pictures and a lot of great information for it. The map zooms to the areas. I'm going to show you some of my pretty pictures because I just like things that are pretty. I'm one of those. I think this is a really neat picture. Goes with number 29. Here the map went to it. There's some great information on it. I like this picture too. And the other really cool one is this one. This allows a lot of our geologists take really amazing pictures. So this allows us to put it out there. It's kind of like John was saying, allows you to put it out there for the people like me who like pretty things. But then understand what is also going on in geology. It kind of, I know you guys are crazy smart, but it dumbs it down for the average person. But it also allows people to be able to kind of get excited about it. You know, a picture kind of gets excited about, oh, where is that? I kind of want to go see it now, right? But you also explain the geology behind it. So I really hope you like where we're headed, what we're doing. Once again, like Jeff said, there's the questionnaire. So I'm going to plug this again. Fill it out, please. I am new to the group. I really would love feedback. I really want to make this application something that you guys are going to put this as a book, you know, on your screen. This is something you're going to be your go-to. And I can only make it as good as you tell me to. You know, so right now, sky's the limit. I want your, you know, pie in the sky idea. We'll see if we can do it. I'm not saying we're gonna, but I like ideas. So that's kind of where I'm gonna leave it at, and Jeff's gonna wrap it up because I should be quiet.
If you have any questions, go ahead and you can unleash them now, or concerns or thoughts. Oh, Todd's put that back up for me. Okay.
He's good.
Go to the next one. Q&A and discussion is right now. What we plan to do once once you guys have filled out your questionnaires, and I hope you do, I hope you come and visit us down in the display area where they're going to be there this afternoon and tomorrow, and we can give you a fuller, richer, more specific view on certain things if you're interested. But we'll try to read and tabulate through the questionnaires and all the submissions. We're going to get a small group together to review them and try to help prioritize things a little bit, because we've kind of, the sky's the limit now that we've got some of these newer technologies, all the data sets we've got. We're hoping to release a first version by next year. And we're hoping to follow up over time with new releases, more layers, more tools, other enhancements, make it a little more iterative process. We put new stuff up, hopefully get a reaction, see how things go, and then do it again, right? And then improve on it with time and version it. Our biggest issues, we know we want to put more layers into some of our applications. Maybe this will spawn some thinking and some thought processes. We currently only have the bedrock geology map, for example, on the old IMS. We have 44 detailed geology maps that we think we need to put in there. We have probably a dozen intermediate level maps, and then of course the whole provincial scale map. How do we put that all into one application if we want to do a bedrock centric type application? We know we're lacking on the superficial geology side. We've got a superficial geology service, but we really don't have a great wrapper or application out there for that. Geochemistry, we need a geochemistry service and applications. We need geophysics services and applications. So these are all things we know we've needed. We kind of have some of them on the side, but we really don't have them out to the public and put together very well. And we're hoping now to move forward and do some of that stuff. So if that's some of the stuff you're interested in, please put it on the questionnaire. We know we've lacked it over the years, and we know we've got to add it in, but your responses will help us with prioritizing that. If we get more people and a good number of people say the superficial geology maps are important, we'll get those out there first. Okay. Other than that, I'll leave it for questions or discussion or anyone's responses. Yes.
Jeff, do you have like a tutorial for when you talk really quickly and just
Yeah,
every person get tricks on this and takes them 2 days or 3 days of working through all these symbols, this and that.
I know.
It's nice to have just like a help tutorial thing to just sort of say, well,
Yeah.
is there such a thing?
Right now in the demo version, no. I'm hoping to follow up. One thing that's on the questionnaire, by the way, at the very bottom are other sites. If there's any other sites that you find really good, please put them down. I've looked at Vermont's followed the lead on for us on this GeoCortex type application. They have some really good help documentation. I know, Lyndon, our help sucks. It's sucked for years. It's one of those things we've built the applications, moved on to something else, and really haven't provided good help documentation. That we will hopefully remedy and do a better job at down the road. So right now, no, but we hope to in the future. Yes, and the other thing I wanted to mention in the questionnaire, if anyone here wants to be a tester, who wants to, someone that we would send off a URL and get some feedback on, please click the little no or the yes option on the questionnaire, and we'll send them off for direct feedback. But no, you're right, our help's been awful. The groundwater one had gone ahead and done a pretty good job with their documentation, but I was hoping to incorporate that in the other applications. This is the older applications. But moving forward, I hope that we will be better with documentation and tutorials. Ideally, it'd be nice to have a YouTube-type video, wouldn't it? Walking people through this and an online demo, something like this, what Sonya's just given us.
Another quick problem are problems you guys want us to be using historical databases that you have, like the drill hole database, for instance, is a problem. I just recently had a file, a report on a claim block, and discovered a whole raft of drill holes misplotted, like they're all on the government. So if I had just not known that or looked at old assessment reports and knew that the drill holes were within my claim block, and I clicked on that, I would have perpetuated the error,
Yeah.
And then the geology maps that you have, I find you actually get on the ground and stuff, they're so general that you want to put on a geology map onto your, say, claim
Yes, no, I agree with you there.
You're really big on the scales of, 1 to 10,000 or whatever. But then when you go down to the scales that you actually are using, like 1 to 2,000, or 1 to 1,000,
Yeah, no, I understand. In the ArcGIS model that we're using that we hope to translate over, what would happen for the geology maps in that particular instance, you wouldn't see the 1 to 500,000 geology map. It would cut off at probably 50,000. Then you would zoom in into a map that was more appropriately scaled at that. And then if you're going down to 2 or 5, maybe there'd be instances where the mapping's not so great at 2,000. We'll shut all the maps off because we don't want you putting in a precision or a reliability that's not there on those maps, right? But no, we understand that. We know we want to add more maps in there. It's just a question of how to do it. We've looked at sites like in British Columbia where they've put everything in its kitchen sink in their legend, and it's difficult to see in our mind, but at least they've made a great effort to put everything up there. We can easily do that as well. It's just a question of how easily we can make that usable by clients, right? But no, these are all good things. I'm jotting these down as you bring them up. I've heard it before. And no, I felt bad. The geology map that we have up there right now really should cut off at probably 10,000. You don't see it because you're right. You're seeing lines, you're seeing boundaries to polygons and stuff that's not real. There's a plus or minus factor on those lines that it's not reliable. Any other thoughts, concerns? Yes, sir.
Is there any feedback loop so they can become more accurate?
Right now, no. But I know in a lot of these, that could be something we could potentially incorporate into this. So if you have some expertise in a particular area, you're mapping it, your contacts are off in this particular area, we would hope that we something beyond just a simple email, you can send a diagram. You saw how you could save something there in the particular application and actually say this line is out of sorts. You could mail that back to us, and then we could say, well, good, now we have to do some more QA, and we have to put some more reliable contact information here. So we're hoping with this application, we probably could have that feedback to allow that to happen. It's not there now, though. Not there now. What's that? All right. Well, Sonya said, ask them what they liked or disliked.
Not dislike, that's what they like.
I tried to come up with a lot of the things people have asked me over the years. I know the printing was terrible on the old HTML ArcIMS thing, and it's so much better now. The scale bar is there. It's much more better rendering of the map that we had in the past. I know people have always wanted to move to fixed scales. 25,000, 50,000, and now that's possible. You can type it in and do that. And then the coordinate issue was always a big deal. Like, how do I get the coordinates off of this? Well, now you can click on it and not only see it in UTM, but in lat long. So if you're somewhere else out in Canada where our UTM system doesn't really register, you can use lat long, right? And there's also line measure tools and area measuring tools that Sonya didn't show that are quite good as well. You could draw a box, show it in hectares or acres, and change it on the fly as you did it, and which are really quite neat. So I think you'll get a lot out of this. It's one of those things you're probably bombarded with possibilities here. I know we are, and we just don't know where just out of the box we're able to ramp up some of this stuff and configure it very quickly. But really need some guidance moving forward to see what our priorities should be on certain things. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ernie.
Jeff, I noticed as Sonya was going through her demo there, there was a Google, I think it was Google Earth and Bing Maps.
Yes.
She didn't click on those, but are you guys saying that Bing Maps will be available in this?
Yeah, there's a yeah, there's a dance we have to play with, or a dance we have to do with the projections. The Bing Maps and all that stuff is in Web Mercator. Our legislated standard is UTM 983. So we'll have to play with that a little bit. One of the maps, though, does it not? Southwest Nova, you can bring in the imagery, So you can bring in the, because it's Web Mercator, you can bring in that imagery and it matches up nicely.
What about our DNR forestry service?
Absolutely, well, that's been something, as a result of the NSGI, the Nova Scotia Geomatics Infrastructure, we've been constantly chiming on them, bring in our own provincial orthophotography in the standard so that we can use that in anything that we produce. But yeah, that's going to be dependent on them providing that. We don't want to really do that. We could do that, but it's really up to them to provide those services. But yes, that's where we're going for. And you could, I don't know if you've used ArcGIS Online and some of the capabilities there, but and just as you would with Google Maps, flip on the satellite imagery or flip on the vector maps, yes, we should be able to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, in the past 10 years, and that's what I get all the time at my end, is that's what people are looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that area.
Yeah. No, and that's, as I said, that's a dance we have to make with the projections we're providing the services in and what we're tapping into. And there's no reason to bring that stuff in if we put them, if the projections are matched. We want to guarantee that things line up properly. That's always been the issue. Every few years I used to look at these new viewers and applications, and it was either the speed that was an issue or the fact that they didn't exactly line up, and you really can't be showing mineral rights on something that, you know, there's a shift there, right?
What about the, I guess, and I don't want to make assumptions here, I'm guessing that the second derivative geophysical information for the boom is all going to be a layer. I didn't see it in Sonya.
Yeah, we had talked to Sonya about, and it was just a time constraint about putting an appropriate image behind everything. So when she showed you that transparency thing, you would see something like the second derivative mag, which would have been real nice on that Southwest Nova map because it was so important for Chris when he did his mapping, right? And bring that up. We just didn't have time. We didn't have time. The transparency is really nice, though, when you can get to use that and take advantage of it. And it's going to be essential down the road as you're mashing together all these different layers. It can turn into chaos, so there's going to be, the onus will be on you to decide what you want to do and how you want to use it, and the transparency will be something you have to play with, right?
What about the available lot? And I realize you're going to have to dance here, like, for example, HRM's LiDAR, which is, fantastic, CBRM's LiDAR. Any thoughts of getting access to being able to put that into the public?
We have our own Cobequid LiDAR that we can put up without any restrictions right now. Those are situations you kind of get yourself in. You really want to go to Halifax and say, here, you did this LiDAR survey, provide this to us as a service to us. Right now we showed NovaRock as a service. There's no question that LiDAR stuff would be great to have. Whether we should be the ones shouldering it all the time would be the other issue. This would be where we'd go to Genova and say, this is digital elevation information for the province. It's very generic. You guys should be providing this, right? We might do it as a case study, but moving forward, I'd like to see other groups within government shoulder their burden properly and provide us with that information.
One more if I can throw it in.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the name, anything in NovaRock, the base maps, legs, place names and that, is that all been corrected now? I noticed in one of the frames that Sonya popped up there, that Carlton looked to me like it was in the wrong place, which was, I know was a problem in NovaRock. Is that all been fixed?
Brian, is that been fixed? I know with the,
We take the names, the place names that are in NovaRock comes from the provincial government and Nova Scotia Geomatics Center. So we use what they have. Now, we're going to be putting in some updated stuff, new roads, new base layers pretty soon. Most naming conventions will be the same. That's the way they are with the Geomatics Center. That's where they say they are. When you're wrong, they'd be the people that have to correct that. We don't take on correcting their mistakes.
yeah, what you saw in the way of base layers on some of that stuff was a mishmash of a snapshot in time Sonya put together when she put the Southwest Nova map together. Then the NovaRock stuff, which may or may not have jived. And then we're currently going to put up a new lift of base layers for NovaRock. And I think that's, as Brian said, that's in the process now. Yes, Dan.
Thanks, Jeff and Sonya. So some positives for Sonya. Being able to add layers is awesome. Okay? And I just want to ask you about that. So we're talking about data and natural resources, mostly almost. But the province has a ton of data, and a lot of the things that we want is constraint limits on where you can work and you can't. So can you talk about that? Do you
Right. I'll talk a little bit about that. Brian can fill in the blanks if there's anything I say that's wrong. We participated in a GIS link project with GeoNova and Service Nova Scotia to initially provide an infrastructure to put up the data. Now they're into a phase 2 of that, of putting up some selected DNR data sets. And amongst those would be some of this stuff that you're talking about. It's in the works. Right now, though, we basically provide a lot of that stuff independently, and it's something that we do, as a backdrop, say, to Novorock, as you're aware of now. I think the plan is that the contributors would provide their information to the central infrastructure. It would be vetted, put it up there properly, and then you would tap into it as you would need it. And then it would be the responsibilities of the contributing people to make sure that they have the appropriate version, that they update it, and so on. Is there anything you want to say on that one, Brian? Other than it is a plan that you're right. There will be they call it the single source of truth. I hate that term, but it would be a place where you would go to get the information that you're looking for, right? And it would be centralized, and it would be easier to find than what it is now. Because right now it's sneaker nets and floppy disks and hard drives, isn't it?
That's pretty good, Jeff. I'd say we're probably realistically, we're a couple years away before you see an awful lot of stuff come from Black.
Yeah, I think you're right there too. It's just really now it's in a once I think they get through this next phase with DNR related data, then they'll look further, broader afield to other groups. Right, and of course the environment groups are important for us and for you, what you're talking about. Anything else? Oh, we're getting into lunchtime. I know people's stomachs are probably starting to grumble. I really would like you to fill out even part of that, any part of that. If there's any layers you'd like to see, any capabilities you'd like to see in these applications, or if there's any neat websites out there that we can use as a model. And you don't even have to know the URL. Just say Vermont's mapping site, I know is good, or BC's exploration assistant. I know I've looked at that a few times. There may not be things we can do directly to get them, but we can mimic their philosophy of how they do certain things and so on. So please. And if you have any other questions, we're down in the exhibition area. You can talk to us there and sit down with us and go through some of this in a little more detail if there's something that you're interested in and would like to know a little bit more about. Okay? Well, with that, I will get our way.